I did not like this movie, but I will say I am a huge fan of the Broadway musical. I saw it on tour, and I've probably seen every single bootleg to exist on the internet. In Minecraft. This musical was my autistic fixation from about age 19 to probably like 21. Actually now, from 19 to now. I am honestly not even a huge fan of the original 2004 movie. I like it. My heart is with the Broadway musical adaptation. I think the musical took all of the heart and compelling social commentaries to the stage in an extremely entertaining and energetic way by playing off of the original satirical character archetypes. The stage was just a perfect place for a story like Mean Girls to thrive because there is something totally inherently theatrical about the plastics and frankly every single character. I really believe choreography and silly little musical breaks enhance the story of Mean Girls, but the translation was completely lost going into the movie musical. I believe that the main problem with the movie musical is the lack of presence with Katie. Apart from the obvious change in musical performance with Katie, they did not give the character any depth like they did in the original movie or the musical. It was just kind of like stuff was happening to her and she was just there, which is just the most dull, non-compelling thing you can do to a protagonist. I don't like to critique acting performance that much because like who the fuck am I? I will say that the actress who played Katie totally had the look, and I think she did have a nice singing voice, they just didn't use it, or maybe it wasn't the best fit to translate the original Broadway music. The metaphor of wild animals being like a high school social scene and how the hierarchy is ever so present in that symbolism was a totally half-baked premise in the movie musical. Again, I attribute this to the movie musical's lack of fleshing out Katie as a character, which goes along with the fact that they took out a lot of really important songs in the movie. There's just no point in closing the movie with the song I See Stars if you are not going to include It Roars as the opening number or the song More Is Always Better. It Roars introduces Katie in her initial transition to public high school. It's explaining her life in Kenya and is literally saying that her desire for something new and more social like friendships and the average American teenage experience is a feeling that is roaring inside of her after a newfound boredom and relentlessness begins to set in from a life that is incredibly isolating and depriving for an adolescent girl. More Is Always Better is Katie's moment to show the audience that her values are incredibly skewed after being exposed to all of her desires. It's to show how misguided this life she has chosen has become when she used to be able to see and experience what really mattered when she was living a different, more simple life in Kenya. The song has the line, "You know what, I had more of stars. So many stars at night, but here there's so much light, I see them less now." The whole song is about how she thinks that more is always better, and that line is her realizing that what was important is completely lost on her now that she is committed to a lifestyle that prioritizes materialistic thinking and vanity. And I See Stars is a representation of her changing her ways after dealing with the consequences of her actions and having a self-realization about feminism, and not only what that means to her relationship with other women, but what that means for everybody. The first few lines of the song is cheap, fake, easy to break. That's how I used to be. Here, take it, now I'm awake, I'll show you what I see. And she goes on to essentially explain that everyone is a star. They're unique and shine in their own way, and that strength has the opportunity to light up others. But that message doesn't mean much if the running metaphor of the sky and nature and high school being like a jungle isn't very strong or even there. The connection between math and Katie's inability to transition into a world of socializing and standards that extend beyond what she's comfortable and familiar with, being reason, facts, and figures, is an incredible metaphor that eventually lends itself into being one of the most powerful parts in both the original movie and in the musical. When Katie realizes that the limit does not exist when she's faced with being put against another girl at the mathletes competition for the sake of just being another girl.
If we break from this crap, then the answers land in our lap. Don't be scared, just persist, then our limit does not exist. No, the limit does not exist.
The limit does not exist.
All of that is dialed down like 99% in the movie musical. It was fun to see Lindsay Lohan for like a second, but the mathletes sequence really disappointed me because that was supposed to be Katie's big bounce back in the plot, and the significance was just really lost on me. The energy was completely sucked out of that musical number, and honestly, every single musical number. So like, what's the point? I have a lot more to say about this movie musical, but I will stop now because I want to keep this video sort of concise to one thesis. I think I'm so married to and tied to the Broadway musical that there was no way I could watch the movie adaptation with completely fresh eyes, but I really went into it optimistic and open-minded, and even with all of the online hate it was getting, I kept my hopes up and I was thinking, I love the musical so much, how can I not love this movie? I liked Renee Rapp.
Get in, loser.
I talked really fast for this entire video because I want people to watch this video, and if it's really long, I know like I'm going to lose people, so I'm trying to keep it speedy. Also, if I said Caddy instead of Katie, don't come for me.